Glad you could join us in our first story. Gunshots have been fired from the home of Chief Executive Officer of the defunct gold dealership firm, Men's Gold. Over 20 customers picketing the Trasacco residence of the CEO have also been arrested by police. Scores of aggrieved customers this morning converged in front of Nana Piamente's house to retrieve their locked-up funds. The customers burst from Takwa, Kumasi and a number from Accra say they have run out of patience and they are ready to spend the night there in order to get their funds. My colleague Komla Adom was at the scene earlier and gave this account.
And let me speak to some of them. Hello, sir. Welcome to JoyNews.
Yeah, I am Louis Amwako.
Okay. Why are you here today?
I'm from Kumasi because my money locked at what means gold. 2 years now. That's why I was here to collect our money. Nana Piamensa was saying, say, you pay our money for us, but now no one can get any money. That's why
money has been invested here.
2.1 billion. Okay. 2.1 billion. I was working at Takwa Gold Mines. Change of government, that's why I lose my job. After that, I send my money to invest. They lock our money. This morning you came here to collect my money. Other than that, I couldn't go anywhere.
Okay, I see that many of your other colleagues are carrying bags and valises and suitcases that they are just coming to collect their monies. Yeah. But you cannot be confident that you get your money from here. This is not a bank.
Yeah, it's true. That's why you bring our papers here. Nana Piamensa was saying you pay the money, but none other Kumasi branch, Takwa branch, Accra branch, no one can get in money. That's why you bring our bag here to collect our money.
Okay. And in December, we're told that some of the monies have begun being disbursed to some of the customers. Yeah. We're told that 200 of your people had been paid. You say that has not happened?
No one. Other Kumasi branch, Takwa branch, Accra branch, no one can say you get in money some. No one get in money. That's why you came.
Okay. Look, it's not like this guy is lying to we the citizens or the customers.
Okay. How much of your money has been invested?
1.5 billion old currency. Okay. Do you understand? We are all workers, and we came on the ground. That's the reason, and the main reason why we send our money to Men's Gold. We've been seeing him moving.
Okay, give me a second. So those are some of the customers. But a short time ago, we had some shots from one of the compounds. We do not know where it is from. They suspect the customers that it's from one of the buildings belonging to Nana Piamensa. A short time ago, also the police arrived here in their numbers. And just while I was doing the interview, a horde of well-built men on motorbikes just drove into the premises. They have just moved to the entrance of a building, standing in front of a gate of a compound believed to be belonging to Nana Piamensa. And so that is the situation. It's a bit of a disturbing situation, I have to say, because from nowhere these well-built men, milled onto the compound on their motorbikes. The police are here. They have come to man the frontage of the compound, and so that's the situation. But the customers say they are not going to relent. They're going to push until they get their money paid by the embattled Chief Executive Officer, Nana Piamensa. So that's the situation here at the moment. Very fluid. A lot of action happening. Hello, ma. I see you are very agitated.
It's annoying. Only one person you people are protecting, and so many people are dying in their bedrooms. What is it? It's now one being made by gold, and some of us have been made by the sun. What are they trying to tell us?
I'm sorry about everything that's happening, but how much of your money was invested here?
Sometimes I do not want to disclose my money on the air because when I mention it, my heart, it's annoying, my brother. Okay. Today, some of us were ready. They can use our blood to rewrite the history. That one person have duped the whole nation, and they are protecting him.
Look at
they are protecting him. We are sick and tired. We are sick and tired. One person have duped the two people. People are dying in their rooms. Because of it, people are dying in their rooms. And this Akufado you have not seen. It's number one so special because all of you are benefiting from our money. Give us our coins and we'll be at peace.
We'll be going to Komla for an update on that situation, but in the meantime, family of the 46-year-old woman allegedly shot and killed by her partner in a Kumasi hotel has discounted claims that their relative Comfort Owusu was a lover of the suspect. According to the daughter of the deceased, who spoke to JoyNews' Ohiming Teria in an interview, the day of the incident was the first time the suspect ever asked her sister out for a date. A 42-year-old suspect who checked into the Cedar Crescent Hotel in Kumasi with a woman at 1 a.m. on January 2 is currently in the grips of the Ashanti Regional Police after he attempted to conceal the crime by reporting it. Ohiming Teria joins us on the line there. Ohiming, you have been speaking with the family of the deceased. What more have they been telling you?
Yes, Daniel, according to the family, they are devastated over the incident because they say the disease, Comfort Owusu, is not the type of woman who goes out because she has been operating a local eatery, a local restaurant here in Asafo. She's always busy. She closes from the workplace at 2 p.m. and then starts preparing for the next day's meal. So she lives alone with the children, 3 kids, the daughter and 2 sons. The youngest being 7-year-old boy. So on the day of the incident, according to her daughter, Adjoa Boachua, she actually told her she was going out with this Edwin Awuku, a gentleman who has been picked up by police. But as to whether the disease has been in amorous relationship with their suspect, Adjoa Boachua says no, her mother is not in any amorous relationship with the disease, just that the disease is a noted customer who comes to the restaurant to buy food, and just about a month ago, the two became friends. So it has been like a customer and then a relationship between the mother and then the disease. So it's not that the two have been going out as it's been speculated out there. So that is the explanation that the family has been given, Daniel.
Ohiming, how are they taking it, the loss of their mother?
For the daughter, for instance, she says she'll be the first person to feel the absence of a mother because they sleep on the same bed, they eat from the same bowl, they share clothes and everything. So even if somebody proposes to the mother should be the first person that the mother will discuss with her, and then the two of them will come together to turn off this love proposal. So the family is not taking it lightly. They say that they have been hit hard by the devastating loss of the mother, a woman they describe as breadwinner for the home, and she has been also been providing for people, the poor, especially those who come to a restaurant without money, and then she has been feeding them. Even on the day of the incident, she cooked and then served almost everybody in the house, including outsiders, passerbys who were just going their way and felt that they were hungry. So the family says that they have not even lost a goat, but she says the family has lost diamonds. And tomorrow, the family is also preparing a 1-week ceremony to observe the loss of their loved one.
Thank you very much, Ohiming Teria, for that update. It's back to Accra, Trasacco Valley to be precise. Let's bring you that update from Komla Adum, who is still on standby with those aggrieved customers of Men's Gold. Komla, describe the current situation at the residence of Nana Piamenta.
Well, Daniel, when you get to the Trasacco residence or the Chief Executive Officer of Men's Gold, right now, some has returned. You can only count 15 police officials who are dotted around here and some other individuals who are standing just around the gate of the premises. Not much activity as it was the last 20 or 30 minutes ago. So it's just been calm that's been restored here as we speak.
Throughout the whole incident, was Nana Piamenta seen?
I have not been able to cite Nana Piamenta himself. I'm not sure any of the people here have been able to cite him because the premises is heavily guarded. But you can see a black 4x4 vehicle just passing of the building inside the barricaded area, and not much activity as well is going on inside the premises. You could see just two security officials, walking in and out and walking around the place. tidying up the area, you know, tidying up the lawn, etc. That's just the only activity happening inside the town. And the chief executive officer himself has not been sighted any around here since we got here.
But the people were of the belief, obviously, that he was in there.
Yes. The customers believe that he was in here. In fact, when we got here and the customers were angry and chanting and agitating, we had some warning shots at the compound, you know, so they suspect that all his family members are inside the premises, and that was why the warning shots were fired. That was before the police to be arrived. So the suspicion is that he's in there, just they have not seen him.
Tell us about those 20 people, Komla. What did they do? What warranted that arrest?
So Daniel, in fact, the numbers increased by the minute. So I can report that over 100, you know, customers are picked up by the police and taken to their regional headquarters. In fact, more than.
Unfortunately, we are losing Komla there. He, however, updates us that.
Here to the pickup vehicles of the police that they brought in here and took them right out of the premises and to the regional headquarters. According to ACP Kwesi, who is the Accra Regional Director of Operations of the Police Service, the customers breached the Public Order Act by not notifying the police first of all about their action today.
Right.
Also, he says that they entered the premises of the estate forcibly and unlawfully, assaulting the security guard on duty in the process.
Right.
And these are breaches of the law which they are going to be processing the customers for.
Thank you very much, Komla Adum, for bringing us those updates from Trasacco. If you just heard him, the number of persons who have been arrested in relation to that demonstration at the home of Nana Appiah Mensah has risen to 100. More than 100 people have been picked up by the police for that incident this morning. Now, away from that story, former President John Mahama has bemoaned the growing phenomenon of fake news, which he believes could threaten the integrity of the country's democracy. The NDC flag bearer cited instances where his social media handles have been altered to churn misleading information or what he described as fake news. Mr. Mahama made these remarks at a stakeholders engagement meeting with the leadership of the Church of Pentecost.
With different groups, professional groups. On that side, we've met with the TUC, we've met with UTAG, we've met with the Bar Association, the Medical Association, and so many other such groups. And it is giving us a lot of interesting perspectives in terms of not only the manifesto that we have to present to the people before the election, but also in terms of feeding into policy that a new government under the NDC will implement when, if the grace of God shines on us and makes us win the election of 2020. So that's one of the, main reasons for a meeting. The next one is to interact so that you understand some of the perspectives, that we hold in respect of national affairs. We've always assumed that the media of communication are enough channels for providing the public with information as to national policy and governance. But in many cases, it does not happen like that. We have a new media called the social media, in which you can find a lot of fake news. And sometimes I find my own Twitter handle and somebody's written something on it and put it on social media as if I said whatever it is, and it just turns out to be fake. And so there's a lot of information out there, but there's also a lot of disinformation out there.
Kwesi Parker Wilson is traveling with the former president. Parker, tell us, what was this meeting about?
Okay, so Daniel, the NDC as a party, according to the strategy in what they say, winning the 2020 election is engaging with some stakeholders. And in the past, they've met the Christian Council, they've met the UTAG and all of that. So today they are here with the leadership of the Pentecost Church. And of course, Apostle Eric Yamiche is the chairman of the Pentecost Church. So they are here to engage them and also solicit from them some ideas on how they can fashion out a proper manifesto, what the NDC calls it, the People's Manifesto. So in the course of their interaction, the former president raised the concerns about information being out there. And though people need information, there should be accurate information out there. And for him, he's been a victim of fake news in the past because people author his social media handles and then turn out false information. And so it says that sometimes some of this information appear that the two major political parties are each other's throat. They are fighting over nothing. So Ghanaians are raising concerns about that. But for him, he says that the two parties have their different opinions on how to move this country forward. So they're only engaging in ideas and not fighting. So it is important that he engages with stakeholders to let them know what the plan of the NDC is should they return to power in 2021.
What more has he been saying?
Well, so there are concerns about whether or not the mission schools should be handed over to the church. And the former president is saying that when the NDC returns to power, there's a lot of things that they will look at, whether government is really managing the mission schools very well, or perhaps there should be a compromise or an understanding on how they can effectively run the mission schools across the country.
Parker Wilson, thank you very much for bringing us those updates from the meeting between former President Mahama and the leadership of the Church of Pentecost. Now, the Ghana Police Service has arrested 5 persons for allegedly engaging in various registration offences and malpractices during the mass registration exercise being conducted in the Ashanti region by the National Identification Authority, NIA. The arrests, which occurred between 3rd and 6th January 2020, were the result of collaboration between NIA and some aggrieved citizens in the Ashanti region who provided to NIA relevant incriminating evidence on the conduct of the suspects and also identified them to the police. 4 of the persons are NIA registration officials, while 1 is not. All the suspects have been granted police inquiry bail and will be assisting the police in investigations. Meanwhile, the management of NIA is satisfied following administrative procedures that the conduct of its implicated registration officials is in breach of the relevant provisions of the Public Service Code of Conduct. Management has further determined the said conduct violates applicable internal rules and regulations governing the conduct of NIA registration officials. Accordingly, the Executive Secretary has directed the immediate dismissal of the said officials. Now, the Technical University Teachers Association of Ghana, TUTAG, is on an indefinite strike to protest the non-payment of allowances due its members following the conversion of polytechnics to technical universities. According to the association, government has refused to fully comply with the ruling by the National Labour Commission, NLC, to ensure that its members start receiving their allowances from December 2019, January 2020 and February 2020. National President of TUTAG, Dr. Solomon Kielsen, said salaries of December 2019 were paid without the said allowances, with no official communications to that effect. He believes government is doing everything to create a second-tier public university, even though the National Council for Tertiary Education professes parity of prestige.
So there has been some communication, at least from the Executive Secretary for National Labour Commission.
Of a possible meeting?
Yes. No communication. We haven't had any communication with Fair Wages. We haven't had any communication with NCT. You see, Ministry of Education is the direct employer, and so you know whoever has to do what, finance have to pay. Yet your employer has a stake in that. And Fair Wages has to work on the rates and the values, and so they have a role to play. NCTE, they work under the Ministry of Education, and for that matter, they also have a role to play. Action, my sister, the promises from 2016 to now is so much that there is no trust anymore. So promises will not be taken this time again, because you see, the last promise that we had was to be enforced by National Labour Commission, and that is why they gave the ruling. And so if National Labour Commission has given a ruling, and that can also not be complied with, then we don't know which promise we can take serious again. So what we are waiting for is action.
And until then?
Until then, the word indefinite, as you saw in the release, continues.
To a disturbing story now, and more girls between the ages of 10 and 16 are falling victim to early and forced marriages in Zongo communities in the Ashanti region. Some families continue to push young girls into such relationships every week in contravention of the Children's Act, which pegs the minimum marriage age at 18. Leadership of Zongo chiefs is worried about the development, which negatively affects childhood development, including their formal education. My colleague, Ohiming Teria of our security desk, who has been investigating the issue, has more.
Police Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit has rescued 3 victims of child marriage in Kumasi in the last 2 months. They include 2 junior high school students and a senior high school student whose father has since been convicted for his role in his daughter's case. DOSU officials say child marriage is still prevalent despite introduction of free senior high school and other state interventions to support education of children. Superintendent Susanna Derry heads the unit in Ashanti region.
Child marriage in Ashanti region is generally not that common. It is only found in certain communities which is occupied by people who practice different culture and then different religion. Generally, the Muslim communities, they practice the child marriage. But I also see that it is a kind of practice that they don't see anything wrong with. The laws of Ghana do not accept that, but for them, with their beliefs, they think that it is right. And so if you go to those communities, they still practice child marriage.
16-year-old SHS student was being married off to a Wenchi-based electrician against her will of furthering her education. She is now back to school under strict surveillance of police and school authorities following a court order. The father was convicted and sentenced to a fine of 2,400 Ghana cedis.
There were cooking going on, and also where the child was kept. All this was gathered and then brought back to me. So we now embarked on the operation. With the help of SWAT and the anti-armed robbery squad, we were able to get some armed men to accompany me and my investigator to the scene. And we went in, forcibly took the girl out without anybody questioning because of the scene. They had seen armed men around, and we rushed her out of the area to my office and subsequently to a shelter for temporal safety.
The Council of Zongo Chiefs is worried over surging cases of child marriage in the region, especially in Kumasi. The council has intervened in several instances to halt some child marriages. Alhaji Musa Shuabu Sharif is the secretary to Council of Zongo Chiefs.
The community is talking about it, and then the Zongo leadership was also talking about it. Can happen to you. Let me tell you, there's a cleric here some time ago that wanted to marry a child that is below 18 years. So many hadiths, that is the saying of your prophet. I mean, a lot of, but the community, because he's a leader, if he does that, it's going to set a bad precedent to people. My imam or my leader or my chief has done that, and that one can go. So the community also stood up against that. So we will not agree unless the girl reaches 18 years. We insisted, and then we never allowed that imam to marry her until the girl reached 18 years.
Police believe culture and religion could be forcing more minors into child marriage than reported. Cost of resettling victims is one of the major concerns of police in the face of resource constraints.
Transportation is one of the very difficult issue we have at the original dog zoo here. And if you have it, it will actually help us do more, because these things are going on. Sometimes, if we are informed and we don't have available means, by the time we move, maybe it will have been too late.
From Kumasi for Joy News, Ohime Nteria reporting.
Now, residents living along the Atonsu Lake Road stretch in the Ashanti region live in danger of extreme dust pollution as construction work stalls. Commuters wear masks and hoods to travel, and businesses operate in distress as fine powdery dust fills towns like Atonsu, Espresso and Eputoja. Love FM's Erastus Asaridongo took a trip to assess the situation on the Atonsu Lake Road and now reports.
The dualization of the Lake Road from Ahinsan Brewery to Kontenase Bosomtwe started early last year. It is expected to take away the huge vehicular traffic experienced on the stretch daily. Awarded to Kofi Job Construction, work has stalled.
The people are living in misery. Misery of fine powdery dust poured on their faces every single day and every hour. All the commuters on this road from Aputoja to Atonsu Agogo live in distress on a daily basis.
Plans to minimize the effect of construction work on residents have not been consistent. Red, fine, powdery dust fills the air, rooftops, homes, schools, businesses. The intensity of the dust pollution is seen and felt along the Atonsu-Aputoja stretch, forcing commuters to alter their way of dressing. A simple trotro ride from Aputoja demands that passengers put on different body, face and nose coverings to escape the deep penetration of dust in the roughly 30-minute journey. This man is seen cashing in on the problem. He sells nose masks at Espresso by this highly polluted, dusty route.
50 pesos put through mask.
It's very terrible, as you all can see. So selling the mask, we don't sell it only to those who are traveling, we sell to everybody. Yes, everybody is involved. So we make sure that, and we have also decreased the price so that everybody can afford some.
So how much is it?
A pieces go for 50 pesos and the pack is 5 Ghana cedis.
A good stores, senior, a good stores. A full tronunti yentimi, yen tax emma community no. Uko DC in the office, there be a tax. A good stores. Check me plumbing materials. Go and see the room.
I just don't understand why the contractor is behaving this way. Look, right from beyond the Aputoja, I've been coming from that end to fire service station. He seems not to care about the people living here. And I shudder to say, if he really cares about our health, look, those living alongside the road,
More on the weather and business, because as the Harmattan intensifies, we hear from the fire service on how you can protect your offices from potential fire outbreaks. Stay with us for details of these and more.